I have to thank you as well, because this isn't my traditional territory, but I was born and raised here. And I have an apology to make for that, because I was part of the colonial settlement. Because every day that I occupied your traditional territories was a day that you could not conduct your traditional ways. And so I partook in the government's plan to assimilate and dispossess us. But one thing that this Idle No More has been doing is bringing us together in unity. And Chief Jimmy mentioned it, that we have to put aside all differences. And I think I'd like to really thank Robert for bringing this together today, because what he's done is put aside all differences for the better of our people. And that's the biggest message that we have to send out. You take a look around and look at how many non-Indigenous people are here today. And the government is paying attention to us, but I'll give you a little bit of background of what I've done in my life. I've worked political campaigns, I've worked for the labor movement, and I've worked for social justice. If we want them to pay attention, what you have to do is, like Inez said, go home and teach your own people, our people, the traditions, our songs, our ways. And the winter time is the time to do that. But what you really have to do is develop allies. So I'd like to thank our allies for coming out today and supporting us. So after we go home, take the time to educate yourself, like Chief Jimmy said, about Bill C-45, what it means to us as Indigenous people. Take your time, like Inez said, to educate yourself about the long-term transgenerational effects of colonization, because we're still dealing with that. And take your time to educate your neighbors, your non-Indigenous neighbors, because they're the ones that we have to develop. See, the government's taking a look right now, and they're just seeing gatherings like this. And there may be 600 gatherings going across the country today, but they're not paying enough attention. So from here we develop our allies, in my opinion, continue on with the peaceful marches and education of our non-Indigenous neighbors. Then from there we take our next steps. And I think everyone knows what they are. We've lived through them in the 90s, and I think everyone's prepared to go through them again, but I won't talk to those today. So again, I want to thank Robert, and I just want to take the time to mention that, you know, I never knew my identity until I was in my 20s. But I had an identity because of people in Squayala and all around the surrounding territories for adopting me. And Robert and his family took me in as a young child, started teaching me the ways, and I walked away from that. And I'm really sorry for that. And I'm glad to be what I consider my home away from home. So thank you again, and don't, you know, today is, you got to be political every day from here on in. That means holding your MPs, the provincial electives, the city officials, and the federal officials accountable. You cast your vote, we take part in that as much as we can, and we make a change. But we do not let them move on without being accountable for their actions. And this is the first step. So, Masicho.